As you prepare for your first weekly meeting with those you'll be training, you're in for an exciting adventure. In his first meeting, Ying found that of the 30 persons he trained, only 13 of them told anyone their story that week. But of the 13, one of them told 11 persons his story. Now, this is not unusual. Don't be surprised or discouraged if those you train prove to be hearers of the Word rather than doers. Encourage them to do better next week. Chances are they will do better, or they'll be absent. And that's all right too. As your trainees increasingly sift out the hearers, you'll be left with a team of doers. Of course, it's also important for you to model for your trainees being a doer yourself. You don't have to be the greatest soul winner in the group, but you do have to faithfully share your story and train others to do the same. Now, the structure of the weekly meeting is an extremely important factor in the success of T4t. In fact, it's probably as important as answering those 4 questions, because it's the weekly structure that creates a new church and trains your trainers to raise up new believers, new leaders, and new churches themselves. The weekly meeting is divided into 3 parts of equal length. If you have a 90-minute meeting, for example, each of the 3 parts will be 30 minutes long. If you have a 60-minute meeting, the 3 parts will be 20 minutes each. The first 1/3 of your weekly meeting consists of 4 activities. Number 1, pastoral care. If your trainees are having any impact, you can rest assured that they'll come under attack from Satan. So ask the trainees to share any prayer requests and concerns that may have arisen over the week. The second activity is worship. Worship will restore their spirit as we commune together with God, so take time to sing a song or 2 of praise to God. The third activity is to cast a vision. Now, in this first meeting, you'll cast a vision by telling your trainees the Ying Kai story, but in subsequent meetings, you'll want to focus on the reality of lostness and the urgency of the Great Commission. The fourth activity in this first 1/3 is to hold one another accountable. This is so important. In subsequent meetings, you'll have each of your trainees sit in a circle and report to one another on who they told their story to this week and who they trained. The second 1/3 of your meeting has only one part, and that's teaching a new lesson. During this first lesson with your trainees, you'll do a little more than usual since you'll be walking them through the 4 questions and their answers, as well as teaching them Lesson 1, God's Plan of Salvation. Lesson 1, God's Plan of Salvation, is designed to assure that when you do share your story with someone who's ready to invite Jesus into his life, the trainee will know how to lead that person to faith. That way, if the trainee never sees this new brother or sister in Christ again, he can be assured of seeing them in heaven. The final 1/3 has 2 activities. The first is practice the lesson. The second is set prayerful goals for the week ahead. If your trainees are to be effective, they must practice, practice, practice. So have them form groups of 3 and practice teaching each other the lesson you've just taught them, in this case, God's Plan of Salvation. Have them ask the other 2 persons in the group to help the new trainer to become more effective. This week, your trainees will practice their personal story, their life before Jesus, how they met Jesus, their life since Jesus, as well as Lesson 1, God's Plan of Salvation. After they've practiced their story and lesson, have them set goals for who they will tell their story to this week. Close in prayer for one another and for the week ahead.